Okay, we'll pick up on the second turn of wake-up call scenario. I've moved the turn counter to turn 6. Have a quick look at the battle. I got the Russians moving up this way. One guy's still shaking. Troops coming up this way. The Germans haven't taken any casualties yet, but a couple guys are shaking. Still from the first turn. And the Russians coming from the west. So at the start of the turn, we rolled for impulse points and initiative. The Russians have the initiative, and they have 10 impulse points. And the Germans have 6 impulse points. So the Russians' turn. Going to start moving some guys. Okay, I'll spend 1 impulse point, so I'll go from 10 to 9. And I will let's move this guy up. 2, 3, 4. And I will mark him moved. Okay, German's turn. Okay, this rifle squad with the light machine gun is going to fire at the stack. He's going to fire at the shock squad with the attached sergeant. So he's going to fire 6 firepower to 4 defense. And this stack is in a light structure, so they get a +1 to the defense. So it's 6 firepower minus 5 defenses, +1 column they'll attack on. I have the +1 column here. So the German rolls 2d6. He rolls a 7. A 7 on the +1 is a B result. So I'll come back to the shock squad. He has to roll his gut check number to see if he passes the broken result. So the gut check for the Russians is a 7. So he rolls 2d6. He rolled a 9. He passed his gut check, so the leader won't have to take a gut check roll either. So we'll mark that German unit as fired. Oh, I forgot to take an impulse point. He spent the impulse point, the German. So now it's the Russian turn. The Russians are going to try and soften up this rifle squad here by forming a group fire with a stack and the attached lieutenant. Shock will come up. The Russians spend 2 impulse points. Bang, bang. Let's see what's in the stack. Let's patch them up. Hassle module seems to be awful finicky anymore. Okay, let's see the firepower. 2 rifle squads plus an LMG. So the firepower is 3, 6, 8. They're all within range. Range is 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. Firepower of 8. And the rifle squad, German rifle squad, has a defense of 4. Plus 1 for the light structures is 5. They're firing 8 minus 5 is plus 3 column. And the stack will also get a plus 1 to their attack roll because they have an attached leader. So we go over here, plus 3 column, and it'll be plus 1 to the die roll. So let's have a roll. Roll a 5. Get a plus 1 for the leader, becomes a 6. 6 on the plus 3 column is a B, a broken result. So we come back here. German will have to roll his gut check to pass. German gut check for this scenario is an 8, so he rolls. He rolls a 7, so he failed it. So this German unit is broken. Come back here to the Russian stack, and they're marked as fired. Okay, it's the German turn. Germans are going to do a form a fire group of their own with a stack here. They have a rifle with a firepower of 4. Well, first of all, I'll spend the impulse points. So we'll spend 2 impulse points, 5, 4, 3. And we'll go here, the heavy machine gun, firepower of 3. Rifle, firepower of 4, which is a 7. And they have an attached leader. And they're going to fire at the shock unit with the attached leader. So firepower of 7. And they trace down this line. They're going to lose 1 firepower for that stone wall along the spline there. So the firepower of 7 becomes a 6. And the shock unit's defense is 4. And they're in a light structure, a wooden building, so it becomes a 5. So 6 firepower minus 5 defense is plus 1 column, and then they'll get a plus 1 to their roll for having the attached sergeant. Plus 1 column, plus 1 to the roll. We'll roll 2d6. It's a 6. Plus 1 is a 7. A 7 on the plus 1 column is a B result, broken. So now the shock unit has to take a gut check roll. The Russian's gut check number is a 7, so he has to roll 7 or higher. He rolls a 9, so he passed. So he passed, so there's no result. So we'll mark the German stack as fired. So now it's the Russians' turn. So let's spend I'm going to do I'm going to spend one impulse point, and this guy is broken, so this sapper is going to move up. It's going to move 2 points to go into the woods. Mark him as moved. It's the German turn. Germans only have 3 impulse points. Russians have 6, so the Germans are going to pass. Okay, the Russian turn. Russian spends 1 impulse point. This sapper squad that moved up, he's going to assault move onto the broken German rifle squad. He's going to assault move into the hex. And we'll mark we'll put a melee counter on the hex where the melee is going on. Now that hex can't be fired into or moved into, and the melee will be resolved at the end of the turn. So that was the Russians' turn. Germans have 3 impulse points, Russians 5. Germans are going to pass again and see what the Russians are going to do. I think the Russians will move this stack here. Do a group move, spend the 2 impulse points, bang, bang, and this stack is going to move 1, 3 into the woods. Mark them as moved. Okay, that's the German turn. The Germans will spend 1 point. The squad here with the light machine gun is going to take another shot at the shock unit in the light building. So he's going to fire 6 again. To the shock squad. Has a defensive 4, +1 for the light structure, so it'll be 6 to 5. He's a +1 column again. That column there, so the German's going to roll 2d6. Rolls a 5. Yeah, very good. 5 on the +1 column is no result. So that stack is fired twice. He's used up his actions. We'll put a used marker on him. Okay. Russian turn. Russians will spend 1 point. And he'll move 1. Let me just check. This assault squad has a range of 4 hexes. Let me just check the line of sight. Okay, here's an open shot. He's not going to. His firepower won't be reduced by any degrading terrain there. So we're going to come down, and that German's going to take an opportunity fire, spends a point, and he's going to fire at the shock squad in the open. So his firepower is 5, minus the shock squad's defense of 4, is +1 column. +1 column. The German rolls 2d6. He rolls a 12. Finally a good roll. A 12 on the +1 column is an X. So this shock unit has been eliminated. This German assault squad is marked as fired, and we'll go over to the German casualty point, enemy casualties marker, and we'll add 2 more points for the full squad eliminated. 1, 2. Okay, good shot by the German. Okay, that was the Russians' turn when the German outfired, so now it's the German's turn. He has 1 impulse point left. The Russian has 2. The German will pass again. He'll save his 1 point to see if he needs it for anything. Russian will spend an impulse point, and Sapper's going to move. Going to move 1. 2. The Germans are looking for an outfire on him. Let's check from this hex here. Okay, this line of sight. We'll go through 1 hex of brush, which degrades it. And I think it just misses that stone wall, so firepower will be degraded by 1. So yeah, he's going to take an outfire at him. This unit here. The unit is a rifle of 4 firepower, light machine gun of 2, so 6 firepower. Subtract 1 for the brush is 5. And the Russian sapper's defense is 4. 5 minus 4 is +1 column. So the Germans will spend their last impulse point with this outfire. They'll make a roll on +1 column. Roll 2d6. Rolls a 3. 3 is going to be no result on the +1 column. No result. So we'll mark that German unit is fired. And that sapper was done, so marked him as moved. Okay, well the German's out of points, so the Russian still has one left. The Russian's last turn, this guy's going to make a dash. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how the initiative rolls turn out next turn. Okay, so everybody's, that was the Russians' last impulse point. So, we come down and resolve this melee at the end of the turn in the melee phase. After we played the turn, now we go to the melee phase to solve any melees. So here we have the, since the German rifle squad is broken, he will not get to fire back in the melee, so it's basically a free shot for the sapper. German rifle defense 4. Okay, so the Russian sapper's firepower is 6. You get a +2 to the firepower for melee, which is 8. So he'll be rolling on the 8 firepower minus 4 defense. He'll be on the +4 column, and he'll also get a +1 to his die roll for being an engineer unit in a melee. So it'll be +4 column, +1 to the die roll. +3, +4 column, +1 to the die roll. You'll roll. Rolls a 9, gets +1, it's a 10. A 10 on the +4 column is an X result. So he eliminates the German rifle squad. The German rifle squad is eliminated. And the Russian will come up on his casualty tracker. And here we'll mark 2 casualty points. And we'll delete the min counters. Get rid of that melee marker. And that's how it looks at the end of the second turn. Russians are starting to close in. Each side lost a full squad that turn. Okay, so we'll advance to the next turn. Move the turn marker down to 5. And we'll do the 3 rally rolls right now. Rally a shaken unit, 7 or higher. We'll do the Russian unit here first. He's not in the range of a leader, so he's a 7 or better, but he's in the open. An infantry unit in the open. That's a -1 to his roll, so his 7 or better to rally becomes an 8 or better to rally. So let's roll 2d6. He rolls an 8, so he rallied. The shaken marker. And we'll go do the German rallies. Okay, this captain's in good order now, so he can affect the rallies of these units. He has a range of 3, command range, so both these units will get the benefit of his leadership. So we'll do this rifle squad first. His 7 or better, add 1 for the leader. There'll be a 6 or higher to rally. Roll. He rolled a 6, so he rallied. It's good order. Now this assault squad that's shaken in the same stack, he'll get the +1 for the leadership modifier. So he'll be a 7 or better, becomes a 6 or better. So he'll roll. Roll a 4, so he failed his free rally roll, so he remains shaken. Okay, a couple guys rallied, okay. Now let's roll for the initiative, see who goes first this turn. Russian will roll first, he rolls a 6. The Germans roll is a 9, so the Germans have the initiative this turn, which is not going to help this guy that's standing in the open next to the Germans. Germans have the initiative, so let's roll for impulse points now. Casualty levels are not where they reduce the impulse points yet. Once you get to 5, multiples of 5 will reduce the impulse totals. So we'll roll the 3 dice for the Russians right now for impulse points. So here we go, 2d6. It's a 6, and 1d6 is a 2. So 6 and 2, the Russians get 8 impulse points this turn. Come down and roll for the Germans. They get 2 dice to roll, and they roll a 5. They have 5 impulse points. So that's it for the second turn. And all the units are starting to get into it now. The rest of it's still got a ways to go. We'll see how the next turn works out.